For so long, we've been here, we've been trying to break.
Hi there, and welcome to another edition, or should I say the first edition of the Springboard Hangout. The Springboard Hangout is your fun, educative program that looks at issues that affect us, and then we find how we, the youth, we can find our way through. You know, and during the last year, we had different sessions. We talked about the Woman 360. We looked at entrepreneurship, the new level of entrepreneurship. We also had industry experts on women on the go, the practical way, and then we looked at workplace productivity. I'm sure you remember the edition that we had with Wachi, where we're looking at Wachi, and we didn't really eat the Wachi, but we kind of looked at how teamwork works. Yes, so that was Springboard 2021, Springboard Hangout 2021. By the grace of God, we have crossed over to 2022. And what does 2022 have for us? This year, we are starting with financial planning and investment, and we are looking at everything in between. Today, I have this fantastic young gentleman. When we talk about people who are gurus, that's the person. He has this YouTube page that have people looking at how they can invest and all kinds of stuff. And I tell you, when you hear what he has for us today, you say, Springboard for more dear, we'll try pa. And I agree, we do try. So today we are looking at financial planning, especially for we the young people. Financial literacy must be something that we all have and we all use in every part of our lives. So if you are watching today, please don't go anywhere. And also, please call someone to be on the watch with you. And for those who would watch on Sunday, I know you would really, really benefit. At this moment, I'm going for a quick break. When I return, we will bring Desmond into the studio and we'll learn all about Sika, because Sika does so much in our lives. Don't go anywhere.
He's always turning around. Tena mimfana Yehovah si Woniao Yemamita
Tena mimfanshe Yehovah nemo Woniao Yemamita
Memaning kwachi Kuruani so Namaboliti Atramansenina Meshiranidi Medina dansi Vonia Yemamita Memaning kwachi Kuruani so Namaboniti Atramasena
Meshirani din da Medina dansi Bonia oh yeah mameda
Tena mimfana Yehovah Wonia Tena mimfana nemo
Get me York's Rent a Car. I need a car in 15 minutes. Hi, I'm Jake Morris, and I travel globally. But when I'm in Ghana, York's Rent a Car is my reliable choice for safety and comfort on the road. York's Rent a Car provides comprehensive logistics services to mainly blue chip companies as well as individual clients.
At a time we needed a car rental service, and York's fitted in very well per our standards.
Their services is top notch. Drivers are on time.
It was beautiful to see them behind the wheels, and anytime they pick up a guest, the guests were very, very happy.
Already? Excellent. York's Rent a Car provides services and expertise that include meet and greet services at the airport, car rental, driver personal outsourcing, and vehicle detailing. What's the problem? Yo, I told you, York's Rent a Car delivers world-class service to its customers, having their highest safety and comfort in mind. So watch him. Go over open for him. York's Rent a Car runs 24/7 operations where customers can make car reservations and inquiries of our services online and also call our hotline.
Welcome back to Springboard Hangout. You know, I missed you guys so much. I couldn't wait for February to start so that we're back in studio with you and we are having such a wonderful conversation. So tell me, how did you enjoy your Christmas? Could you please share something with me? Because I had wanted to go somewhere and my people said they were not going with me. So I had to stay, somewhere. I wanted to go to the north or somewhere, but so I had to stay in Accra like that. So please, maybe you were fortunate enough, let me know. Anyway, so we are back in studio and we are with Mr. Desmond Bredu. He is the head of client services at Stanbic Investment Management Services. And when we talk about investment, this is somebody who is chartered at ACCA level. He's got a degree in accounting. You know, it'd be like the guy, he boiled himself in money. Why? Okay, I'll find out for him about why he like money like that. And then, as if that's were not enough, when he was doing his ACCA, globally, he won 3 awards, the first Ghanaian to do so. Charlie, why you do that?
God is good. That's the first bit, but I mean, it's just like one of my goals to like make a mark in wherever I find myself. So I was like, we can do this. So let's do this. So yeah, that's the overriding principle. Like we have to achieve something. And so that's it. You missed one about 4 actually.
It's 4?
The last one was the overall later on.
Really? Overall, so I mean, so it's like, you know,
overall in Ghana.
Overall in Ghana, yes. Okay, yes. But then worldwide, you got 3. What were the awards in? So
it was in audits and advanced audits, and one was in governance. What's in the whole course thing? But yeah, I was 15th.
And then there was ethics.
Yes, governance and ethics. I was 15th. I was 10th, and when I was second in the world in the advanced audit. Yes. So.
See what I'm talking about? The guy is good. So yes, Desmond. So let me find out. Yeah. I know that sometimes entrepreneurs find solutions because they see a need, or maybe they are experiencing some hardship themselves. So they say, this thing I can do it, and therefore let me do it. Yeah. But were you broke? That's why you went into investment or into financial planning. Why did you start in financial planning?
So I think the whole idea is, okay, I mean, I went to University of Ghana and in my 4 years in Legon, I wasn't introduced to anything investment until I organized a program about investment and financial literacy. So thankfully, even after that, I was fortunate to work in an investment firm. So I was like, okay, it's something that really lacks amongst the youth. So it's something that it's, okay, why don't we preach the message to many people that, okay, it's something that's possible. You don't have to wait till you are out of school making the big bucks before you start thinking of investment. Once you are NSS person, even start thinking about investment. Once you are even a student, start thinking about investment. So that's the whole idea, whole concept. As for the broke bit, yes, at a point in the university, I mean, I made some poor decisions because I realized that I wasn't even thinking about the future. Everything was, can I spend now? What can I do? It's about the now. So looking back, I was like, okay, I made some really poor decisions. And you wouldn't know, but you only see this on hindsight, okay, like reflecting now, yeah, I did this thing. So if I have this experience, why don't I share this with other people to be able to talk to them, okay, you can make a difference in your financial life. So that's the whole beginning of my investment and financial planning journey, yeah.
Excellent. So we are going to hear the gospel of financial planning today. So let's start from the basics, because I always say that if I know the kind of ball I'm playing, I know that I'm not playing football, but I'm playing maybe hockey or something. And hockey was one of the games that I loved most. I mean, actually, I was actually a captain when we were in school of the Legon hockey team, female hockey team. Yeah, nice. I was the captain at one time. Anyway, so doing that, what is financial planning? So
again, just before I come to that, I love my football. So
you love your football. Unfortunately, he's an unfortunate Chelsea fan. Yeah. You can go ahead.
We'll come to that discussion later on. But yes, when we speak about financial planning, it's basically everything concerning your money and how you achieve your money goals. So when it comes to financial planning, we just have 3 key questions in mind. Where are you? Where do you want to get to? And how do you plan on getting there? So, okay, how do I achieve my money goals? And that's all the financial planning is about. I mean, it has many facets like, okay, investment, like budgeting, but all of the whole thing or the whole principle is how do I achieve my goals that I have for myself, maybe for my family as well. And that's all financial planning is about. But again, like I mentioned, there's many subsets, like layers to that.
I hope that we would be able to bring that to bear as we go along. So then, where are you? Where do you want to go? And how you plan on getting there? So that is basically financial planning, right? Yes. So this is in your finances.
Yes.
So then, if I am there and I fail to ask myself these questions, what happens after all? I will live.
So that's the first mistake, that if you fail to plan, I'm sure you say you plan to fail.
Something like that.
You know, there's this funny video going on. Is I won't think of my future. My future will think of itself, sort of thing. But usually, if you live that kind of life, sometimes, most often than not, the future really plays really hard to get. So for me, the best thing is, okay, how do I not plan to fail?
Okay.
And that's what financial planning is all about. Okay, I mean, we all know that there are circumstances that you can't control, really. But the most important bit is, which part of the conversation can I control? And that's why financial planning is super important. Another thing that I probably speak on is, if you don't plan your money, for instance, you might end up doing some impulse buying. For example, you don't have any goals at all. Be like, okay, I have 1,000 CDs. Let me get this watch here and eat it. So I choose watch it because you mentioned in the introduction. So let me get this watch here to eat. In fact, let me just get this iPad. Let me just get this phone. Maybe at that point in time, those are not the things you need. But because you don't have any money goals, for instance, anything that just goes by, your friend comes to Charlie, today's Friday, Moku step out. Then you just jump in. But if you had, for example, those kind of goals, you'd be able to know, okay, at this point in time, this is not what I need for myself. Another reason, if you don't plan, is that for many people, just look around us. Again, I can use, because I grew up in Nsawam, and I have folks of 50, 60, 70 still having to work. Most of them couldn't or didn't plan their retirement properly. For me, I feel that at a point in time, you can't work. So as a young person, you need to have that kind of realization that means I need to start planning from today. That maybe at 50, at 60, I need to stop working. And if you look around us, people having to, at 60, wake up in the morning, go to Accra to go and buy stuff and come and sell. I'm not sure if us young people want the same kind of lifestyle. So it's important that we start planning our retirement from the get-go.
So what I hear from you is that it's beneficial to plan your. What are some of the benefits?
I mean, let's start from the basics, right? And I spoke about the impulse buying bit. Now, if you have money goals, right, or you have financial plan, you'll be able to know that, okay, at this point, what are my needs? What are my wants? you get it. So that is a very critical thing, to be able to know what your goals are and prioritize the goals. So for example, if your friend comes and say that, oh, Charlie, today be Friday, or let's step out, I'll be like, oh, at this point, my budget is restricting me to where I can go. So instead of going to this high-end place, let's look at an alternative for us. Another thing is, if you don't have any plan, let's say, for example, you set out on a journey, you're going to Kumasi. In fact, you don't even know where you're going to. You're like, let me just sit in a car. And it's not the best of things. You need to have the end in goals, in mind. So let's say, where do I want to get to? So am I on the right track? So how can I make improvements? If, for example, I know that, okay, I have to get, say, 1,000 cedis in my investment account end of year, that's my financial plan, for instance. I'm then able to monitor and track whether I'm making progress.
Yeah.
Okay, I said that every month I'll put aside 10 cedis, or I'll spend 5 cedis. Am I on the right track? So monitoring and tracking those kind of expenses makes it easier if you have a plan. Imagine you don't have anything to compare with. How do you mean? Like, Charlie, let's go with the flow sort of thing. And it's not beneficial to many people. And another thing is, when it comes to financial planning, again, using an example of you buying wachi, buying this, buying that, what happens in circumstances where there's an emergency? Let's say you have spent all your money.
Yeah.
You don't have any goals, Charlie.
Yeah.
What can come, can come. Let it come.
Exactly.
Let it come. And let's say, God forbid, or touch wood, you fall sick. You need to take some monies to take off your health. Maybe you have other things. Maybe, if, for example, you go to work one day and it rains, you've budgeted for Trotsky, and you go and there's an Uber that you have to pick. For those emergency moments, if you don't have some sort of plan in place, how then do you deal with them?
Charlie, so it'd be like you want to tell me that, I mean, if I don't plan, I slack.
Big time.
But if I plan, it's good for me because it helps me have some sort of cushion, and not only that, a way to meet the goals that I have set ahead of me. Yeah. And I mean, as time goes on, I will be able to achieve them. Like, say I get some chick where I want, or some guy. Okay, so if you're a guy, it's a chick. If it's a girl, let it be some guy. Where you want to, surprise the person. So in that case, then it'd be like you put the money aside, and then when the time comes, okay, you show up.
You see, just on the back of that, I think we are just some few days away from Valentine's Day.
True that!
A few days from Valentine's Day.
And I've been seeing adverts by people saying that, Charlie, this Valentine's Day, make it not come anywhere near us.
I actually shared some tips on how you can enjoy most festive seasons. But for me, for example, you earn, let's say, maybe, for example, you're married.
No. Okay, this time you're doing. So let's say national service.
Okay, so 559.
559.
Unfortunately, most of the things in the economy or the prices are high.
Oh,
so let's say that you don't have any financial plan. So everything you spend. I mean, I know it's difficult, but at the same time, let's say you have a girlfriend or you have a boyfriend that you want to say, buy something worth, say, 200 cedis for example.
Out of 500, 600 cedis.
Exactly. So see the point. So imagine if you have to hit your 1 month income with that. Means you won't survive.
Okay.
But if, for example, you know that Valentine is coming, whatever happens to come.
14th February.
Exactly. So let me put aside, say, 30 cedis every single month, or 10 cedis, or 50 cedis.
30 cedis actually translates to 1 cedi a day.
Exactly. So if you started a national service in somewhere August or September, and from September to February is like 4 or 5 months, you want to pay 200 cedis. So let's say I want to put aside 50 cedis every single month, or 40 cedis every single month.
40.
So once you get there, you don't have to hit your February salary with that. And that's all financial planning helps you to do. Help you plan in advance, being able to achieve the things you want to do. And it's even good for our mental health. Imagine on Valentine's Day, you are sitting in your own corner. You don't have the money to, and it happens. Growing up, sometimes if you see our parents and you don't have money. Sometimes it's moody. They're a bit moody.
Don't cross them because what they'll tell you, you don't like.
Make sure you don't spoil anything in the house. And so I think if you're able to plan your money well, you're able to know that, okay, at this point in time, I have X amount here and there. Mentally, you're in a better space. So that's some of the benefits that it accrues to financial planning. Yes.
Right. Okay, so I think I am convinced. I don't know about you. Tell me whether you are convinced or not that you need to plan your life. So then let's go through a step-by-step process. How do we actually undertake that process where we are able to say, okay, so step 1, 2, 3, because I like to, so please help me in particular. If you are...
Okay, it's for the youth and everybody, so...
Yes, help us.
Okay, so you remember in the conversation, I mentioned that financial planning basically is about where you are, where you want to get to, and how you plan on getting there.
Yeah.
So the whole process feeds into these 3 questions.
Yeah.
Where you are, where you want to get to, and how you're planning on getting there. So the very first step, where you are, it stems from, okay, the very first thing, have an honest self-assessment or self-reflection. Okay, for instance, Desmond, I'm doing my national service. I'm earning 559. Jacob, I'm first year after school. I'm in this employment. I'm having this amount of money. For example, I live here. I spend so much of money. So the very first thing is to have that conversation with yourself. Okay, this is where I am, and this is how I plan, or this is where I want to get to. But most often than not, if you don't have that kind of self-reflection, it's a very dangerous thing not to do.
Okay.
Because, for example, let's say you are on NSS salary, but your appetite is on someone who's been 10 years working, kind of thing. It's a really dangerous thing.
It
and
is.
Most people don't seem to cut their coat according to their cloth. And for us young people, sometimes social media, lifestyle inflation, it kind of puts pressure on us. But if you have that reflection, it becomes easier for you to know where you are and where you plan on getting to. Now, after that, the second thing you need to do is to define the goals. Remember where you want to get to. Okay, for instance, what do I actually want in this life? Do I want to own 5 houses? Do I want to retire at age 50? Do I want to own a car in the next 2 years? Do I even want to have maybe 5 CDs or 10 CDs in my investment account at the end of the month? So basically, defining your goals and objectives is super crucial because, again, like I mentioned, you have something you want to benchmark against. And the good thing is, if you can have, let's say, long-term plans. For example, I want to have a car in the next 3 years, or I want to own a house in the next 10 years. Then you break the goals down. Okay, 10-year goal, can I break it to 5-year goal, 3-year goal, 2-year goal? Then one, even daily and even monthly kind of goals. Now, once you have that, again, like I mentioned, it helps you stay on track. Because again, in my experience, if you give people like long-term plans, it becomes very difficult for them to be able to appreciate that. But if we break the goals down, say, okay, now this way you want to get to, these are the step-by-step approaches that you need to get there. It becomes an easy and fun conversation to have with the person. Like, okay, this month, just save 10 CDs.
Yeah.
Just save 50 CDs.
Yeah.
But if it's okay, this year, saving 10,000 CDs.
Hey, Charlie.
What am I getting into? But in setting your goals and objectives, the goals need to be what we call SMART. It's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound.
Yeah.
So SMART.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, I want to have 10,000 CDs in my investment account. It's specific.
Yeah.
There's a time correlation to it.
Yeah.
Now again, realistic for example, you want to have 100,000 CDs in your account. Remember, you're doing NSS 559. It is not realistic. So the goal you are laughing, but this.
No, I mean we are smiling, but it's a very serious one.
Yeah. So the reality, when the reality sets in, you might lose hope or might lose focus. So it's important the goals are really realistic for where you are. And that's why the very first step of self-assessment is super crucial. So now we've done the self-assessment, we've done that. Now, how do you plan your money? Do I have to budget? So I earn, let's say, 100 CDs. should I earn more money? Because 100 cedis is not enough to do my self-justice in a given month. Do I have to earn more money? Do I have to cut my expenses? Because basically, in personal finances, you can do only two things to improve your life. Either you increase your revenue or income or money, or you reduce expenses.
That's all.
That's the only thing you can do.
Me too.
You can do.
No, but you see, you make a very important thing, because I remember when we were planning to, or when we were planning to build our first house. Mm-hmm. At that time, we used to, buy a lot of soft drinks.
Yeah.
And then we decided that because we were planning to build the house, we needed more funds. So we stopped buying the soft drinks and then started buying oranges. Then we'll squeeze it. And it was cheaper, and more healthy, actually.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. So I agree with you. So you assess where you want to go, and you either cut costs or increase your revenue. That's the only way. There's nothing else you do. Or maybe unless somebody else dashes you some money. But that route usually is hard.
Now the economy is hard though. No one is giving. At first, you can walk by the roadside and see this on the floor, but now you will see once.
Because I think before the thing falls down, crash, how they grab them already.
Yeah, so it's really crucial that you are able to actually plan your money. Okay, so this how much I can spend in a month. So for example, in your budgeting process, let's say you want to spend, again, I use 559 because we're making it more relatable. You have 559 to spend in a given month. In a week, let's even use, let's say, a 4-week period. Mm-hmm. Is that, say, 100 cedis per week, per day? Can I spend 20 cedis per day? So you broke down your budgeting into easy and much more assimilable kind of process. Now, the second thing is, in terms of your revenue, 559, maybe on a Saturday, Sunday, can you do something different? And now, even we are in a digital world where there are a lot of Instagram shops. I have friends who are doing extra service, are doing something on the side. Mm-hmm. You understand? Influencer marketing. Can you do something different? Because all things being equal, if you have more money coming in, then you can have room to invest, to save, and all those things. And again, I mentioned that sometimes it's really difficult for people to actually save. I was talking to someone yesterday, and basically all the money she's earning is going back into the job she's working. Her transportation cost, her food expenditure. So it's okay, can you do something about it? So the kind of conversation you have yourself is super crucial in planning your money. So that's the third step. You have to plan your money.
Okay.
Now, the fourth thing you need to do is, okay, like I mentioned, it's a financial plan. Mm-hmm. Things do happen that changes the course of your life.
I tell you.
So can I have some personal risk management things in place? For example, and I can do that in 2 legs. Can I build an emergency fund? In that, when in the next 6 months, God forbid, again, touch wood, I lose my job, I have something to fall back on. If my business doesn't go on, can I have something I can fall back on? So building an emergency fund is super, super crucial in your financial planning. Because again, like I mentioned, things do happen. You understand?
Yeah.
Then the next level of the risk management tools, I call them, is insurance. Can you? Okay, let me take this from this angle. You see, when it comes to risk, mm-hmm. even speaking is risk, even walking is risk, eating is risk. But
you mean say the whole life will be risk?
Risk permeates every facet of our life. Everything you do is risk present. So some of the risk you can accept it. Some you can say, I want to avoid this risk. Like you want to jaywalk, you can avoid it. But if you want for some risk, you can transfer the
mm-hmm.
risk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where insurance comes into play.
Okay.
So for example, can you insure your car such that if somebody hits it, you don't have to dip into your investment to take care of that? Again, even having the right insurance is critical. For example, many people in Ghana want third-party insurance, which repairs the other person's car. How about your car?
I tell you, it's been so useful to me. That's the comprehensive insurance.
Comprehensive insurance.
Because then if something happens,
you don't need to argument.
You're cool. I mean, you just.
At that point, you refresh a little bit, but at the same time, you are like.
Somebody will take care of it because I have done that insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't do that, you'd have to dip into your finances. Another thing that many people don't consider in Ghana is maybe health insurance. maybe your educational policy for your kids, for instance. Another thing, funeral insurance, life assurance. You know, unfortunately in Ghana, funeral becomes a party.
But it is a, okay.
Celebration of life.
Thank you very much. It is a celebration of
But
life.
at the end of the day, many young people and many young people or families go through the stress of having to spend so much money in doing that. Can you transfer that risk to somebody such that at the demise of somebody, you don't have to dip into your finances? It's not popular in Ghana. Many people don't take life assurance, but it's something people should consider. Again, you are planning your life, you are planning your finances.
Yeah.
You are making sure that monies that you can avoid going out, you actually avoid that.
Okay, so then let's pause here because I know there are some more. So we've looked at four.
Yes.
We looked at 4 ways. We've looked at
self-reflection.
Yeah.
Then setting your goals.
Yeah.
We've looked at planning your money through budgeting or earning more.
Yes.
Then we've looked at having risk management resources or tools
in place. So we are managing our risk at this moment, and we are going for a short game changer break. When we return, we'll continue this very exciting talk about financial planning, Sika. Let's go. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please.
Today's game changer is for the creators. And make no mistake, you are a creator. Whether you blog, podcast, make music, make YouTube videos, or anything else, you count. But creating content isn't easy on the best of days, and doing it consistently is even harder. So today's game changer is simply a reminder to keep going and keep creating. Why? Let's ask Mariah Carey. Mariah recorded the album Merry Christmas in 1994. And while the album wasn't a world beater, one song on it stood the test of time. Yep, I'm talking about All I Want for Christmas Is You. Mariah wrote the holiday bop in just 15 minutes, and initially she didn't think much of it, but the world had other ideas. This week, our game changer is dividends. Despite being written over 2 decades ago, All I Want for Christmas pays Mariah Carey till this day. By 2000, its highest chart position was 84th, but due to internet streaming, the song has hit new heights in recent years. The song was streamed over 12 million times on Christmas Day in 2020, causing it to finally hit number 1 on the Billboard charts 25 years after its release. Oh, and by the way, the song has paid Mariah over $60 million in royalties. So here's the point. Keep creating, because you never know which of your creations will finally break through. And don't forget, all it takes is one. You know how our parents always warn us that the internet is forever? That applies to good things too. Your creations can pay dividends for years, whether financially, by creating professional opportunities, or in a million other ways. So stay consistent, keep creating, and wait for the breakthrough. This has been the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
Welcome back. And it's great to have you back on the Springboard Hangout. Today we are hanging out with Desmond Bredu. He is the head of client services at Stanlib Investments. And we are talking about financial planning. And we've looked at what is financial planning, looking at the what, the how, and the why. We've also looked at coming to your own self, why it is important, the benefits of financial planning, and why if you fail to plan your finances, you are heading to a very deep chasm. We then went down the plan to see what are the steps when we want to plan our finances, and we realized that you must have a realistic look at you cry, where you be, where you day, you know. And if once you know that, then you decide that, okay, if this is where I am, whether you're a national service person or you've been in business or you've been in the workspace for about the past 10 years, where are you? What are some of your finances? What are some of your expenditure? What are the ones that you need to do? I mean, you have to do, because shall I have for food, you for chop. Going to work to you for go, you know, those kind of things you can't do without. But there are some of the things that you can do without, like a friend coming and saying that, Charlie, I hear say this guy day for time, make we go right now. You haven't planned for it. Yeah. So you can say that, oh no. And deciding that what you have planned for, Like you want to say that you want to buy your first car, whether it's a Matisse or whatever. For instance, when Albert and I got married, we said we wanted to buy our first car, and that was very, very helpful for us. So when we were planning for our first car, we said, okay, everything that we're going to get was going towards the first car. And true to form, the dates that we said we would have it, we had it because we had planned for it.
Absolutely.
So as for me, I believe in financial planning. Okay, so before we went on the break, we were talking about risk, how we can manage the risk regarding our financial planning. And one of the things that Desmond said was actually insurance. We need to add insurance to all the financial planning that we've done, because there's nothing more painful than you have taken your time, you've saved, you've invested, and then because part of our planning didn't take any risk into consideration, we are hit with a risk, like let's say we have to go and do some surgery to maybe our eye. We can't work with our eye, or we had to do somebody passed away in our family and the person was very close. So you need to put some investment in that. So we need to plan, having in mind the ways that we can mitigate that risk by putting in some insurance in our planning. So he's the one supposed to be talking. I've talked too much here. But anyway, I'd like to welcome Ivy. Ivy, thank you for watching with us today. And Zoe, you did from Pam. Mark Bills, you did for the thing for. Thank you. Beatrice, thank you so much. Jessica, thanks, you are here. And Johnson, Jordan Noah, you're also watching. And do ask if you have any questions for Desmond. Can you post it there, and I will ask it as we go along. So yes, Desmond, we were on the we had 4
more to go.
4 more to go. Oh, then that'll make it flow.
So I mean, just a recap. We've spoken about the self-reflection. We've spoken about setting your goals. We've spoken about planning your money, and we've also spoken about the risk management bit as well. Then the next thing is, sometimes in life, we don't have all the resources to do the things we want to do. So we may want to take some borrowings or loans on board. It's important that in your financial planning, you manage that as well. Which of my loans, because something, in growing up, my parents always say that like that's our mentality. But borrowing or debt in itself is not a bad thing. It's what we do with it. So there are people who have built businesses on debt and they've paid off. There are people who have gone into serious bankruptcy. So it's about managing your debt. For example, if you want to get married and you go and take some huge loan for that fancy wedding, you are setting off on the wrong foot.
I tell you. When they come knocking on your door with your new bride or your new husband.
Exactly. Or maybe the latest iPhone 14 Pro Max, whatever it is in town. Charlie, my friend, give me this thing, and you go and do it. Do you know, I have friends who actually borrow to bet.
Borrow to bet?
Because they have a thing that, okay, as for this one, I'll chop the white man. That's what they mean. Like, I'll win against Benjamin Whiteman. That's the term to call it. And most often than not, they lose. So now you're owing the person you want to borrow from. Sometimes you mar the relationship. So it's important that in your financial planning, you learn how to manage your borrowings. Can you take some unavoidable loans? And how do I plan on paying for it? In certain countries, you can't live without debt. They need to have, let's say, a credit score, a credit history of you. Unfortunately, in Ghana, we don't have this kind of mechanism. But one day, we'll get there, I believe. We'll get there.
Personally, I don't like it. That's me personally.
Yeah, but for example, if you look at current, let's say, housing prices, for instance, how many people can afford to buy a house at this moment? If we have cheaper mortgages, people can actually afford to own homes. So it's not a bad debt to have.
It's not a bad debt, but it's when you take the loan that is for
like
really
social events or for perishable goods. Or, I mean, it's not the best thing.
Yeah.
And I used this example a few weeks ago. Even people taking loans for businesses. you might think it's the best thing for the business, but it could actually be killing your business. So sometimes in a small communities, you see people going around, oh, take this money and pay this amount of money per week, for instance. You may think you're helping your business, and loans are good for businesses, but actually you may be killing your business. So that's why financial literacy, it's super important. Which of the loans should I take, for instance?
Yeah.
You understand? So in managing your this thing, your money, your finances, what loans do I have? Who do I owe? Can I plan on paying them early so that by age 40 or 50 I don't have any more outstanding loans? So it's important you incorporate that in your financial planning as well. But all I've mentioned, it's important you have somebody you are doing this with. So most people can do it on their own.
Yeah.
But if you can't, if you speak to a financial planner, they can guide you through some of these things because, again, maybe you might look at it from one perspective. I had a friend call me last week. She was thinking of a business, some idea, and I gave her the other side. We're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way.
It's important.
So sometimes if you want to do this on your own, it's okay. But if you get somebody to talk to or talk through with this, it's super important as well. Now, the next thing for me, or next step, is to plan for the future, the retirement.
Yeah.
On the assumption that, not an assumption, on the reality that you can't work forever. At a point in time, you'd have to go back. You have to let me just sit and relax. Even your health may even fail you. Unfortunately, in Ghana, we've grown up with the idea that my kids are my pension.
Charlie, nowadays the kids, they refuse to be pensioned. So those of you who are waiting or believing that the children you are giving birth to, they will take care of you, please revise your notes. Because those notes, they are so old school, they went out of fashion. So please plan for your own future. Why? Yeah. Go on.
So again, because in times past, our grandfathers to give a lot. If they'll take care of them anyways, but now even the young people are already struggling. Now you want to give them the burden of extra. If they can take care of you, fine. But for me, I think it's important everybody takes charge of their own.
You're responsible for yourself.
For yourself, exactly. So have people who don't care about their SNET. They don't care about their tier 2, their tier 3. If the company is paying or not, they don't care about it. Many people are even concerned about cash allowances rather than the basic salary.
Yeah.
But SNET, for instance, is paid on your basic salary, not on your gross salary. So maybe in your currently you may be earning 10,000 cedis, 100,000, but only 1,000 cedis is basic salary, and the rest are allowances. So as a young person, you need to look out for that in your negotiations. Negotiate for a higher basic salary than on the allowances, because the companies benefit if you have many allowances. Because they won't pay 13% on your basic salary,
but they'll still pay something exactly on the allowances anyway. Yeah.
So it's important you look at, okay, how do I plan? Am I concerned about my company paying my SNET, for instance, or my tier 2 or my tier 3? You need to be conscious about your retirement, because when it comes to retirement, right, it's either you create the kind of retirement you want, or just accept what shows up.
But you see, when you are like the person who is at 20, you don't start thinking about your investment, because we think that, Charlie, time day, 40 whole years, I'll start planning for my retirement. But I can tell you without a shadow of doubt, I've had the opportunity to train people who were about 3 years to retirement. They didn't even know the years were going that way. But at 3 years to retirement, they didn't have anything put away apart from the SNET. And I can tell you without any shadow of doubt that the SNET is like 1/10 of what you have when you were in active service. So financial planning, please start planning even before the first day of work. Start planning at that time. And we have Jessica Teko here saying that God bless you always for the hangout. It's helped me so much over the year. Fantastic. So we have we've now looked at retirement. What other things should we think about when we are planning?
Before I move on to the next thing, I want to just hammer a little bit on the SNET that you just mentioned. You know, in Ghana, there are people earning 312 Ghana cedis as monthly payout from SNET.
Yes.
And ask yourself, what would that buy for you? And for people who think retirement is far off, it is not. It's actually closer than we think. The reason is, if, for example, I did some math, right? If you are, the younger you are, the lesser financial commitment you need. True. Let's say if you are 25 and you want to have, let's say, 1 million cedis by age 60, you probably need, say, 60 Ghana cedis per month. If you move to age 35, you need about 300 Ghana cedis. If you move to age, say, 45, you might need about 5,000 cedis.
Don't do that. Don't scare us. Well, it's good to be scared so that you plan for your future. So scare.
Yeah,
yes,
so
continue
it's
scaring us.
important that you start from the very first time you make your first cedi.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I wanted to just hammer on the retirement.
And I beg you, that's one thing that this one I don't agree with you. It's not the first cedi, because when we are going to school, sometimes our parents give us money. And out of that pocket money, start putting away a little out of that, because it may be just 1 cedi, but as we just showed during the program, 1 cedi a day counts 30 cedis in the month. Yeah. And there are investment houses, or there are places where you can put that 30 cedis away and get some returns on that 30 cedis. So don't wait to even you make your first money. Teach yourself that any amount of money that you get, you put some aside. Desmond.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Thank you very much, Ali. I did the guru song.
You see, that's one of the things that we are not taught in school and as young people. Sometimes even growing up, if your uncles come and give you money, hey, give it to me. They won't even let you save part. And in some homes, you don't even allow you to have a susu box to keep some money. But you need to have the child, train up the child to start saving. So once they grow or they are old and they are earning monies on their own, it becomes easier for them. So thank you for correcting me. And I really love that. Then the final 2 pointers is, now that you have all of these things, how do you implement them?
Yeah.
Where do you start from? So, and the implementation stage is where it's most crucial. Because if you don't know how to implement them, if you don't know how to, what to invest in, for instance, it becomes super, super difficult. So that's where you need probably the advice of a professional. Okay, for example, you have X amount, these are your goals. These are the things you want to invest in. So it becomes easier for you to implement. And that's why I always say that if you're doing this journey with a financial planner, it becomes easier for you. Then the final point is, you have to always review. If you start with a reflection, you have to always say, okay, where am I again? Has my career changed, for instance? Has my earning capacity changed, for instance? For example, the kind of budget you had when you're doing NSS will be different from when you are 6 months or 1 year into employment. Will be different when you get married. Will be different when you have kids. Will be different when you're 45. So we need to constantly review your plans that, okay, is this still relevant as of now? Again, it may not, maybe if, for example, you had a plan on owning your first car. Now that plan is no more relevant.
Because you've got it.
You've got it.
So what's the next thing?
So you need to review the plans. Okay, what is my next thing? So continuous monitoring, continuous re-evaluation of where you are and where you want to get to. And I think you're on the right track.
Fantastic. Continue evaluating, continue finding out if you are on the right track. You know, when we were going to do our first housing project, we were like, we had been saving or investing for about 2-3 years. Yeah. So we had enough to start the foundation. I always say this. We had we did our foundation with our investment. Yeah. And then after them, you know, the foundation is the most expensive part of the building process. So we did the foundation with the investment. And then when we started building, they asked for the one layer, that one which was with our salaries and so on and so forth. When it got to the roof, which is also the next heavy one, we went back to the same investment and then took that to use for the roofing. So we finished the house. We didn't really owe anybody because we had been able to work some years ago with the mind in view, that with the mindset that we were going to build our house. So guys, the car was with investment, the house was with investment. So as for me, dear, the gospel, I have caught a car right now. And then once we started doing the investment for ourselves, for our building and so on, we started investing for the children's education. Absolutely. So every child, when you are born, or your what do you call it? Your Outdooring money doesn't come to us. Your outdooring money goes into investments, and then we do a monthly top up.
Exactly.
So when it's time for you to go to school, hopefully your money is enough to take care of yourself, and then so on and so forth. So guys, the investment, it works. This thing is works. So we've seen the steps. So now let's do a practice. Let's still be national service people with 559 CDs. How do we save and invest with that money in our minds?
Before I get to that,
yes.
When it comes to properties, right? For us young people, we shouldn't think or we shouldn't equate our first property to our dream house.
No, it shouldn't be.
I need to put that so that
Please do, tell them.
people
Let's
know
hear.
that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we fall in the trap of, okay, I want to own the first six. Can you start with the first property? Then as you go on, you can build your dream house later on. I want to just chip that in before I move on to that. But on your question, 559, how do you save and invest?
Is it possible, and what kind of investment can we do?
So let me first define or explain what savings is. Now, when you talk about savings, many people, what it comes to mind is where you put money aside for future expense, for instance. So for example, you put money in a shoebox, for instance. But savings goes beyond just putting money aside. If, for example, you can spend 10 cedis a day and you spend 7 cedis, you have saved 3 cedis because you have delayed the consumption. So it's not just about putting money in a shoebox. If you cut some expenses and you don't spend that money, you've actually saved some money as well. Now, for me, when I talk about savings, I think it's something that I'm really passionate about. But savings is only the very first step. You can't save your way to being a billionaire. You can't save your way to
Charlie, you like say that those of us want to be billionaires, so we not for save, we for do what?
You need to invest your money.
Invest.
You need to invest your money. Because if, for example, you keep your money in a shoebox, you've saved. In 10 years' time, it's the same money you come and pick it up. But the value of it will be immaterial,
Totally,
lost. So you need to invest your money. So investing is just buying assets or securities for which you expect a return. So if, for example, I have 100 C's and I put in, let's say, a fixed deposit, for instance, or if I put in a business, I've invested it, sort of thing. So that's the only distinction between savings and investment. For people who don't earn so much money, I usually recommend what we call, before I go to the recommendation, before you start thinking of investment, there are 3 key things you need to know.
Our time has run away.
Yes.
So some people are telling me I should let you come. You have to come again because the thing we just did the financial planning and we were now getting into the meat of how to invest 559.
559.
Guys, do you agree? So Desmond will be back and we will look at how we can invest that 559 and build our financial future and plan for our financial future. So as we wrap up today, what would you say would be your 3 takeaways that you would like people to know or to remember about financial planning?
People shouldn't think financial planning is for the wealthy. Okay. It's for everybody. That's the very first. I don't want to go deep, but it's for everybody. You don't have to be a millionaire to budget. Even if you earn 559, you can still budget. The next thing is people should think of long term.
Long term.
For me, always long term, the future, what the future holds. Because whatever happens, the future will come. But how we are prepared for it. Then finally, please, as a young person, please avoid get-rich-quick schemes.
Life,
Life,
you are saying that we shouldn't do
life is a process sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes you want to jump the queue. There was this get-rich-quick scheme that it's in Ghana now. And about 2 weeks ago, about 37,000 Ghanaians had registered.
Which one is that?
I don't want to mention, because if I mention the name, people will just go.
No, please. I mean, honestly, don't join the get-rich schemes. You would always fall on your back. And you say that I'll get in and get out before it's going down. You don't know how many people are there, how many people will be also coming in. And the minute all of you start going, I cannot tell you that is when the scheme collapses. So please don't go for any get-rich scheme.
Awesome.
Your last word.
Finally, if you need help always reach out to professionals to help you. You can always contact me if you have any discussion around this topic, and yeah, we can talk about it.
Right, and some of you were wondering where you can get in touch. Desmond has this fantastic YouTube channel. What is it?
Desmond Bredu.
Desmond Bredu.
Yes.
Just search for it and on YouTube, and you'll find very rich content in terms of financial planning there. But he definitely will be back in our Springboard studios talking about this time about investment and what we can do with our investments.
You can, if you also want to reach out to me individually, you can get to my Twitter at Desmond Bredu. You can always reach out to me.
Okay.
And just, yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Desmond, for coming today.
Enjoy.
And I would like to encourage you, don't forget that on Sunday, Springboard Virtual University will be coming your way, where you matriculate and graduate in an hour. And in that program, we're talking about Rosie Ebe Arthur. We're talking about HR in the present world, where we'll see how HR has moved and what we can do in our various organizations to make HR work. It will be online at 7 p.m. on Joy FM and then on Monday at Joy Prime at 5 p.m. This program would also be repeated on ETV on Sunday at 5 p.m. So go and take another look. And I love you all. Thank you for being with us today, because today was a great one. And we definitely will be coming your way again next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. Sure. There you are. You are the best thing that ever happened to planet Earth, and we'll be expecting you next week. Don't go anywhere. You are the best. Bye.
He's always turning around. Turn around. Turning point. Yeah. He's always turning around. For so long